For 25 years, your home for Minnesota Twins baseball.
For the final time this year at Target Field, the Twins fans will come out to see the 2013 edition, with the Twins looking for win number 67. Win or lose, the Twins will go home. The Indians' second season, might be beginning as soon as tomorrow. They're in the driver's seat in the wild card race, now leading Tampa Bay and Texas by a game. And we welcome you to Target Field for the last time. Dick and Bert with you. It's been a disappointing year for the Twins, and you can't help but wrap up this season without looking ahead to next year already.
Well, you look forward to next year, but always this last day is always kind of emotional because it's like a second family. You know, I get to work with you, I get to work with the crew, and everybody's done a great job. You'd like to have the Twins where the Indians are, but maybe next year.
Well, the Twins will send Scott Diamond to the mound against Ubaldo Jimenez, but the specter here is a possible clinching situation for the Cleveland Indians. Tampa Bay already in front big over Toronto 6-0. The Blue Jays winning the first two games of that series. And then Los Angeles and Texas will get started in about an hour. Ubaldo Jimenez has picked it up, and he's been one of baseball's best pitchers in September.
Well, you can go back to the All-Star break where Jimenez, in all those starts, 1.86 ERA in the month of September, 3-0 with a 1.04 earned run average. So they have the right guy in the mound. Indians need a win so they don't have to get into that wild card situation. Just take care of business here. For today, it's Scott Diamond. Scott Diamond has pitched very well last year. He struggled this year, but for Scott Diamond, there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this ball game, and Scott Diamond wants to be at his best against the Cleveland Indians. A couple starts for Diamond so far. They have not gone his way, but hey, this is a new day, and hopefully a new Scott Diamond wants to make a lasting impression as he goes into the winter.
I think a year ago we would have thought Scott Diamond would have been the opening day starter for the Twins this year. He had some elbow issues, and of course that didn't happen. He'd been behind seemingly all year long. He'll hope to have a good start in the final game of the 2013 season. When we come back, we'll get Ron Gardenhire's thoughts from Jamie Hirsch as the Twins wrap up the 2013 season.
Force North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards.
162 games of baseball. It all comes down to today. The Indians can clinch a wild card spot with a win, but the Twins would love to go out on a high note. Welcome out to Target Field and the final game of baseball here for the year of 2013. Now, there are all kinds of question marks about the future, particularly with manager Ron Gardenhire. Will he be back next year? Well, I spoke to the Twins skipper earlier today and asked him what he'd like to see happen.
Well, I want to be here. I feel like, this is my home, and I've grown up here in this organization. I was originally drafted by the Mets, but I've spent, so much quality time here in Minnesota that I love this place, and I love what I do here. I like to manage this club. It doesn't get any better. A beautiful ballpark, you know what, and I never want to leave. I want to finish here, but I want to finish winning. And, that's a goal here. So if I get an opportunity, I want to be the manager that turns this thing back into what it was when I got here.
First things first, though, wrapping up what has been another tough season for the Twins with a win today. So, next here at Target Field, first pitch between the Twins and Indians, Dick and Bert with one final call here from Target Field.
absolutely gorgeous afternoon for the final game of the year. All the emotions you feel on opening day, at least I feel just the opposite on the last day of the season. I'm sorry the season is ending. It is ending for the Twins, and it very likely won't be ending for the Cleveland Indians. You can see the Tampa Bay Rays losing the first 2 games to Toronto, are leading big early in the second game in Texas. He'll get started in about an hour, but the Indians are in the driver's seat in Terry Francona's first year as manager. He was a winner in Boston, and the Indians brought him over, and I don't know that they even imagined that he would have this team where they are in his very first year.
Yeah, Terry Francona has done a great job, as John Farrell has, who took over his job in Boston. But Terry Francona, great history with his dad being a major leaguer for so many years. He grew up around the game. He loves the game.
Menard's batting order for the Indians: Michael Bourn, Nick Swisher, Jason Kipnis, Carlos Santana, Ryan Rayburn as Drupal Cabrera, Michael Brantley, Jan Gomes, and Mike Aviles.
A lot of people watching this ball game, especially, I'm sure, in Toronto and also Texas, as those 2 clubs hoping that Scott Diamond can be at the top of this game here today, making his 24th start. For Scott Diamond, he's had some good games against the Indians, especially here last July when he shut out the Indians on a 3-hit shutout, his only career shutout. They hope that he's going to be on here this afternoon.
Sun is shining, temperatures in the 60s. Twins dressed in the home whites. We will enjoy this day for what it is, a Major League Baseball game in brilliant sunshine, and a ground ball up the middle, and the Indians are off to a quick start. Bourn aboard with a leadoff hit. Check out the Twins in the field. Brought to you by Northland Ford. Clete Thomas is in left. Alex Presley in center. Chris Herman in right. Standard left side of the infield. Blue Florimone. Dozier at second. Harmley at first. Eric Fryer getting his second straight start. Osmeal Pinto, of course, had his hand bruised by a pitch a couple of nights ago.
Yeah, Fryer caught in yesterday's ballgame, did a good job behind the plate, got himself a hit, on base a couple times.
Scott Diamond a year ago was anticipated to be the opening day starter this year, and then in December, as he was preparing for the season, he felt something in his elbow and he had to have a bone spur taken out. That set him back. He was a couple weeks behind everybody else in spring training. Whether that has anything to do with how he's pitched is up for debate, I suppose. But what have you noticed? Why has Scott Diamond not pitched this year the way that he has last?
Well, take a look first at Swisher getting hit by this foul ball off his bat, right off the bottom of the foot, his left foot. But you know, Scott Diamond's all about control. Last year he got ahead in the count, worked in that little breaking ball, good changeup, and this year just even that pitch to Bourn right there just left it up. Control is such a big key to Scott Diamond. Even though his walk to inning pitch ratio was good, it's how you get to that point. Good pitch right there. He has to work both sides of the plate. He has to change speeds. He has to have that breaking ball working for him. He's not a guy that can go out there and just blow somebody away with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. He doesn't have that. So he has to hit his spots.
So I guess in summation, he has not hit his spots as well as he did last year.
No, he has
the
not.
velocity is about the same. I think we saw him 91, 92 last year, and we've seen him touch 91 anyway. So it's not a question, I don't think, of arm strength.
No, it's just a matter of location. Location. 157 hits now in 125 innings off of Scott, plus 36 walks. That's a lot of base runners.
1-2. Certainly not the unwillingness, but the inability to make a big pitch with men on base. We saw that a lot last year. He wasn't a guy that regularly had 1, 2, 3 innings. There were guys on base, but he stranded a lot of runners. And here this year, it's been just the opposite. Instead of getting a pop-up with runners at first and second and 2 down, there's a double, and suddenly 2 runs are on the board.
And surprisingly, he has not pitched very well here at Target Field. This year, he's 2-9 with an ERA over 6 here at Target Field in 12 starts.
Jack swing. Swisher laid off, and it's 2-2.
And in his career as a Twin here at Target Field, he's 8-17. So you want to win at home. Diamond's been unsuccessful at doing that. Pretty good pitch right there. Craig Gibson, the home plate umpire here this afternoon.
Fryer caught that a little funny. I don't know if that had anything to do with the call. 2-2. Fly ball, left field. And Thomas at the fence leaps, and it's gone, a home run. Swisher with enough loft to get it out, and it's 2-0 Cleveland.
Well, Nick Swisher with power from both sides. That's his 22nd home run. That's his 11th home run as a right-handed hitter. So exactly what Cleveland wanted to do was score early to take some of the pressure off of everybody in the lineup. Swisher getting that high fastball and hitting it just over the wall for a 2-run home run. Thomas gives it a try, but you can see going right into the flower bed.
Now you can look at the prior pitch and say, well, it looked like it had the knees. Twins could have gotten the call, could have gotten the out. But you can't throw a pitch where Scott Diamond just did under any circumstances. He doesn't throw hard enough to live at the top end of the strike zone.
Yeah, last year in 173 innings, he allowed only 17 home runs. That was the 21st that he has allowed in 125 innings. So that also comes into play.
1-1 to Jason Kipnis.
In his last start, he gave up 3 home runs all in 1 inning to the Detroit Tigers. Ended up losing that ball game 4-2.
There haven't been many wins in September, but Diamond looked to be in last year's form when he beat the Chicago White Sox in Chicago in the middle of the month. And another base hit. Kipnis with the 3rd hit, still nobody out in the 1st inning.
I think Kipnis is going to be sending our pitching staff a lot of Christmas cards this year. He has owned the Twins pitching staff, hitting well over 400. He has not missed too many pitches when the Twins make a mistake and leave it up. So 3 straight hits here off of Diamond.
The designated hitter, Carlos Santana. Way out in front, strike 1.
Yeah, 3 switch hitters in the lineup for Terry Francona, and they all have power from both sides of the plate. Just saw Swisher hit a 2-run home run, his 11th home run. For Santana, he has 20 home runs. He had a home run in yesterday's ball game, 6 as a right-handed hitter, and as Drupal Cabrera, 14 home runs.
Runner goes, the ball tapped to 3rd. Plouffe sets, fires one away, and Kipnis moves to second base. And that'll bring up Ryan Rayburn. Can't ask for more weather-wise. Temperature climbing into the low 70s. Now let's just go with next April when the Twins have their home opener. We'll hope for a day like this.
Yes, let's hope so. That will be April 7th here at Target Field.
There'll be no mail delivery the day before.
No, there will not be. Huge day.
Well, I think
it's also a Sunday.
A Sunday. That's why I didn't think there'd be mail delivery.
Keep those birthdays coming on Saturday.
You have an inflated opinion of the significance of your birthday, yes. Don't you?
Yeah, I knew it was on a Sunday.
1-1 to Rayburn.
I also know it's 189 days away.
How many of those are shopping days? Not that it matters to me, but
188.
Okay, 1-1. Well, the Indians are in a very enviable position. They have played their best baseball with 20 wins already in September. They played their best baseball in the season's final month. Quite a contrast from the last team Terry Francona managed, when you remember with the Red Sox, they fell apart at the end of September. And knowing the personality of the team without knowing many of the players individually, it wouldn't surprise me if today when they got in the clubhouse there was a big bucket of chicken in the Cleveland clubhouse, just to have a little fun with the situation and the contrast of Francona's season this year with what happened in his last year managing with the Red Sox. He got into all sorts of trouble drinking beer and eating chicken in the clubhouse. 2-1.
Can't believe anybody would do that.
Do something like that?
Yeah.
Down low, 3-1. Diamond has thrown 18 pitches. He has 1 out. He's given up 2 runs. There's another runner at second. And Ryan Rayburn's had kind of a breakout year, getting a chance to play on a more regular basis for the Indians. Foul back. Remember, he was a projected player for the Tigers, and then he was so streaky they even considered him at the beginning of last year to be a possible player at second base. They did like his bat, but they weren't sure where he could play, and now he's found a place to play with the Indians. Full count. And Diamond reaches back and strikes him out. 2 down. Coming off of losing August, they have rebounded very well in September.
Nobody's playing as well as the Indians are right now, and you know they continue this into postseason. It's not always the best team that wins the World Series. It's who's the hottest, and Cleveland's going to go into postseason as a very hot ball club.
I had a chance to talk with Terry Francona yesterday morning, and he made a point which is it's good to be reminded of it from time to time. The prospect of going into the wild card game or winning a division, and obviously everybody wants to win a division. Here's a drive to left, and Thomas makes the catch. We'll pick up that thought in the next half inning. Quick start for the Indians on a Swisher home run. It's 2-0.
Two-run home run. Ron Gardenhire in his 12th season as a Minnesota Twins manager. That's too bad that he didn't win his 1,000th game, but he'll win today and then the first opening day tomorrow. Let's hope so.
Well, let's hope that's the case. Yep. He's handled a very difficult situation about as gracefully as any human being can. Here's the Menard batting order for the Twins, starting with Presley, then Dozier, Plouffe, Doman, Parmalee, Herman in the middle, Clete Thomas, Eric Fryer, and Pedro Florimon. Facing Ubaldo Jimenez, who's been just about perfect so far in September.
Yeah, 3-0 in 5 starts, an earned run average of 1.04. They say Jimenez, for some reason, after the All-Star break, now trusting his fastball a lot more. He's kind of the pitcher that they were hoping they got from the Colorado Rockies when he was 19-8 back in 2010. He's really been their best pitcher as of late, and the whole staff has been good.
And a second trigger to that, other than the All-Star break, was the absence of their ace, Justin Masterson. And you think, well, how can the Indians do, without Masterson in the rotation? And in reality, everybody has stepped up, and no one more so than Jimenez.
Yeah, since the All-Star break in 12 starts, he's 5-5. He's 500 pitcher, but an ERA at 1.86.
And the Twins' first inning starts with another single by Alex Presley. Northland 4 defense for the Indians, and the regulars are out there, as you would expect, with so much at stake. Michael Brantley, Michael Bourn, Ryan Rayburn, Mike Aviles, Asdrubal Cabrera, Jason Kipnis, Nick Swisher, Jan Gomes behind the plate.
We have not seen Alex Presley really steal a base yet. He's 0 for 3 so far. Now, Jimenez is a guy that you can run against. Clubs have 15 stolen bases in 21 attempts, successful stolen bases.
And a throw to first. He has not stolen successfully, and he hasn't even tried in 3 weeks. And the Twins want him to try, so they know whether that's a part of his game they can count on for next year. Remember, that happened to Denard Span late in his career with the Twins. Span got picked off a few times and then refused to go. Well, that made him a much less effective ball player in general, because he's hitting leadoff for a reason, to get on base and steal second. And there goes Presley. Gomes' throw is not in time.
He picked a good pitch to run on, too. It was a breaking ball. So Presley steals his first base in a Twins uniform. The breaking ball down and away. Gomes, good throw. But Presley getting that hand on the bag before the tag can be applied.
Ooh, might have been out.
Let's see if he gets that hand on the bag first.
Yep, safe. 2-0 to Dozier, and a pitch foul back.
Now Dozier's job right here, and even though it's, we've seen the frustration all season long, it's still game by game. This is the final game. Dozier's job right here is hit the ground ball. If you're going to make it out, get Presley over to third base. That's one thing in spring training. I'm sure they're going to try to do a lot of the situational type hitting.
Off to second. Presley dives back.
That was a dangerous throw right there. It was a nice catch by Cabrera as Jimenez threw that ball right into Presley, the runner. That ball gets into center field. Presley's at third.
2-1. Breaking ball over 2-2. Dozier's hit leadoff. He's hit second. He's hit third. He's hit lower in the order, but I think the Twins envision him being a good number 2 hitter on a competitive ball club. So this is where he is on the season finale.
And now be ready to swing the bat at anything close. Too many called third strikes.
Oh my.
And there we go. I think that's been one of the most frustrating things of the Twins, and all the strikeouts they've been able to mount, especially over the last month, Dick. I bet you half of the strikeouts have come on called third strikes. Box track says that was on the corner.
Nice cold hard fact brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Trevor Plouffe had been one of the hottest hitters in September, hitting .343. Not hit a home run in the month. Down and away, ball 1.
Jimenez is a strikeout pitcher. That was strikeout number 182 in 176 innings. He made a perfect pitch against Dozier.
Bounce to short, scooped up by Cabrera. 2 down. Twins got Presley to second base with nobody out. With a 2-run lead, had Presley been at third after the Dozier at bat, Indians likely would have conceded a run on a ground ball.
Those are the little things that the Twins have not done a very good job of all season long.
Ryan Doman, the designated hitter. Good spot for career home run number 100. I'm not sure what a hitting coach can do or what a manager can do when it is a chronic problem up and down the lineup with hitters not protecting the plate, not battling with 2 strikes. I've never seen a team do that like the Twins have done this year.
No, I mean, Tom Bernansky, his first year as hitting coach, you get him ready, you give him scouting reports, but it's up to the player once he leaves that dugout and has that bat in his hand. Bruno has done everything he can, but he can't hit for them.
It's like so many hitters have a no-strike approach, like they're looking for one particular pitch in a particular location with 2 strikes on it. And you just can't do that. 1-1 to Doman. Big pop-up right side. Swisher, the skin part of the infield. Ends it. And the Twins leave Presley at second. It's 2-0 Cleveland.
Game of the regular season for the Twins, but there is still a lot on the line in this game, and Ron Gardenhire talked about that earlier today.
You get to the last day and you had a year like we've had. A lot of guys are going to be thinking about a lot of things, packing up, but we've got something out there on the field that's pretty special here. A lot of people are going to be watching what we do, so hopefully we'll rise to the occasion and play a good ball game here and have some fun because there's a lot at stake for a lot of three different clubs here.
Of course, Ron Gardenhire mentioning that possible 3-way tie going into today. He says he likes that 2 wild card system. He says this is good for baseball, guys. We will see what happens at the end of today.
Well, thank you, Jamie, and thank you for all your great work this year. It's been fun to have you aboard Twins baseball. It is a better format, at least in my opinion, the way it's played out here the last 2 years. The bouncer to the right side, a nice waist-high hop for Dozier. And this would be a great wild card race if there were only one spot open. But as it is, there are 3 teams fighting for 2 spots.
Well, it's kind of in the National League. You knew who the division winners were, but you knew that the Pirates in Cincinnati, it came down to, would Cincinnati, could they get the Pirates, and ended up being the Pirates. But here in the American League, 3 teams going for 2 spots. It's been exciting all the way to the final game here.
Here's Yan Gomes. And the frustrating thing for Ron Gardenhire and the Twins, it's the 3rd series in a row where the Twins have had a chance to impact first the division races and then the wild card races, and they've kind of fallen flat on their faces or other body parts because they've had a roster. Here's a drive to left, and Thomas keeps it in front of him. It's a base hit for Gomes.
1 out single.
Tell you what, Gomes is one guy that has really come in and really set the stage for the Indians to be where they're at. He's done a good job of handling the staff, and offensively, he's hitting almost 300. That ball had a little top spin right there, lands in front of Thomas, but hey, he's able to get that glove down and ricochet it a little bit off the heel of the glove to keep it close to him and keep Gomes at first base. Fourth hit for the Indians. Mike Aviles.
Normally into foul ground, now into the shadows. Makes the catch, 1 away, 2 down.
Nice quick out right there. Yeah, I want to say happy 100th birthday to Herb Almanson from Wilmer, Minnesota. Happy 100. Those are some of our bigger fans, biggest fans too.
Yep.
The elderly that sit in sometimes in these rest homes and watch Twins baseball. We want to say hello to everybody there.
Thank you for your support.
Yes.
You're right. Some of the best fans the Twins have are fans who can't get to the ballpark. Up and away, ball 1.
You know, we have the Winter Caravan. I love going to those homes because they have banners going back to 20 years back that they hang in their rooms. And plus I get to look at maybe this might be my future home. You never know.
1-0.
Got to check them out, Dick. You're still young.
Well, I'm younger than you. And I'll be even younger on April 6th of next year because you'll be up another year.
Oh, no, yours is March 1st.
Now, we don't talk about my birthday, though. We talk about yours.
Oh, no. I remember sometime during this year you had a countdown. You did have a countdown one day that you counted your birthday
for my
down.
half birthday, because I didn't even know they celebrated those until my kids got in school. For the kids who have summertime birthdays in some schools, they let you celebrate your half birthday 6 months into it. Foul back. 2-2. Bourn missed some time with a sprained right wrist. Came back in the lineup yesterday. Got a big hit, driving in a couple of runs with a triple. And he started the ball game with a single in the first inning. Scored on Swisher's home run.
Yeah, it's the first time I saw a ball when Bourn hit that ball. They actually hit the top of the padding. They went straight up in right field.
Dozier flips to first. That ends the second inning. A better inning for Scott Diamond. 2-0. Marbley, Chris Herman, Lee Thomas against Ubaldo Jimenez.
Jimenez needed only 13 pitches in that first inning, and that one reason too he can get deep into the ball game. Quick innings, throwing strikes. 9 of them of the 13 were strikes.
Strike one to Parmalee. Indians are experiencing with Jimenez what the Pirates are experiencing with Francisco Liriano. A dramatic turnaround and a refresher course in how good they once were. In Jimenez's case, he has benefited apparently greatly from Mickey Callaway, the new pitching coach, pretty much letting him mechanically do whatever he wants. You look at Jimenez's mechanics and they're not smooth. This is not how you would teach someone to throw a baseball. But in Jimenez's case, he's had the freedom to just let it fly and throw it the way it naturally comes out of his hand.
Yeah, the biggest thing that Callaway taught him is go back to your fastball. Trust your fastball. And he has movement on that fastball right there at 93. You can see a tail away from Parmalee. But he got to where he fell in love with his split finger, his slider. He forgot about his fastball. There's another fastball, that time at 93, middle in, and he picks up his second straight strikeout. Both of them call third strikes.
Nightly on Fox Sports Live joined Jay Onright and Dan O'Toole, along with Donovan McNabb, Andy Roddick, and Carissa Thompson, as they bring you all the scores, news, and highlights you need at Fox Sports Live, nightly on Fox Sports 1. If there were a fine system, and teams do that from time to time. I remember Rod Carew when he was a hitting coach with the Angels. He had a fine for a called third strike. It was a dozen golf balls. And he had to discontinue it because he couldn't possibly lose that many golf balls.
Oh, have you ever seen Rod play? Come on.
But if Tom Bernansky had a fine system, just $10 for every called third strike, he could retire.
But Dick, you know, I'm the kangaroo court judge in fantasy.
Yes.
And what's one of my fines? A call third strike. You owe $1 to the court.
1 and 2. That's what we need you to do, to come up with a fine system, not for the fantasy camp.
For the players.
For the Twins players.
And where would that money go? To a charity, I hope.
Yeah, Twins Community Fund or Feed My Starving Children, something like that. Herman at the plate. He'll be followed by Thomas. The count is 2-2. You know, again, you're dealing with a very high volume of strikeouts. There's a swinging strikeout, out number 2.
That looked like the split finger right there that tailed away from Herman, and Herman way out front. Third strikeout for Jimenez. Watch this pitch right here. Watch it tail away. See the great location and great movement. Not only the good fastball, the split finger, great location.
2 down. Cleve Thomas, the batter. Thomas will finish the season with just under 300 at bats. Last year, his first with the Twins, he had 28 at bats. Spent most of the year in Rochester and had just under 400 at bats. He had a year like this with the Tigers in terms of number of at bats back in 2009. 275 at bats, hit 240 with 7 home runs, 39 runs batted in. What's been amazing about Thomas, he hasn't driven in a run in nearly 2 months.
A lot of swings and misses. 91 strikeouts in 286 plate appearances. Well, that's fine if you're hitting home runs. Well, Thomas not a home run hitter.
You can't drive in a run if you're striking out, but you'd think you'd trip over an RBI here or there over a couple of months' time. 2-2 to center, and coming in is Bourn, and Jimenez has a 1-2-3 second. A high fly to center field. Tagging is Carroll. This to the wall and lands on the warning track. Carroll scores. Dozier being waved around. And the Twins. Late as May 13th this year, and then a 10-game losing streak started the next day, and this team has been struggling ever since. Twins were at one point this year 18-17, so at least they got off to a better start this year, but you can't overcome poor starting pitching for very long. Here's Swisher, hit the home run to give the Indians the early lead. Here's another one hit down the left field line, chased by Thomas, and bounces into the seats for a ground rule double. So Swisher halfway to the cycle already, and we're just beginning the third inning.
Swisher hit the 2-run home run. This is a breaking ball, and you can see Swisher hitting this ball sharply. It had some hook on it, so Thomas could not catch it. As it hits the track, it bounces over for a ground rule double for Swisher, his 27th double of the year.
Kipnis single. You know what? From here on out, we'll just recap Kipnis's day if he makes an out. We'll just assume that he'll get a hit.
Well, look what he does right there. I was just going to say, watch this at bat. What he does. Okay, that's a productive out. Something that the Twins were unable to do in the first inning by getting Presley over to third base. Kipnis had in mind, if I'm going to make an out, I'm going to pull that ball, and he gets high fives all around. Even though it's 0 for 1, he did his job.
Terry Francona came to the top step of the dugout to fist bump Kipnis, who made an out, but it was a productive out. Now the Twins have to bring the infield in for Carlos Santana. You know, this shouldn't be new to Twins viewers. We've seen teams play this way. The Twins used to play that way.
Exactly.
Very recently. 3 years ago, the Twins won 94 ball games, won another division championship by doing pretty much what we've seen the A's, the Tigers, and the Indians do over the last week and a half.
Twins have never been a home run hitting team. They've hit a lot of home runs this year, 151 and 161 ball games, but it's the little things that they have been unable to do. Advanced runners, you know, if you give you this situation now, Santana with the infield in, this makes him a better hitter because it cuts down the range of that infielder that has to come in.
Nice pickup by Plouffe. Hot smash. And Parmalee with a bit of a pick at the other end. Nice pickup by Trevor Plouffe. Mentioned it during the telecast yesterday. By the way, it's nice to work with you again after you getting a day off yesterday.
Yeah, thank you.
Trevor Plouffe quietly has had a very good final 6 weeks of the season.
He really has, not only offensively but defensively. Picking that little short hop right there, making sure that Swisher stays at third. He's made 12 errors over there, and I don't think he's made an error in a long time. Very steady.
Here's Rayburn. The throws have been much more accurate. And a strike on the outside corner. Diamond trying to pitch around the leadoff double. Rayburn went down swinging the first time up.
Yeah, Diamond's only strikeout so far. For Scott Diamond, this is his 7th career start against the Indians. 3 wins, 2 losses. Good earned run average at 3.20. His only complete game, his only career shutout came against Cleveland back on July 27th of last year, when he beat the Indians, and the Twins beat the Indians 11-0. A 3-hit shutout.
The Indians have improved across the board, and one of the areas where they have improved is their success against left-handed pitching, against starters, left-handed starters. They're 35-20. It used to be they were so left-handed that the Twins or anybody else could throw a left-handed starter up against them, and the likes of Hafner, Sizemore when he was healthy, their lineup in general really struggled against left-handed pitching, and that's not the case anymore. Rayburn, a big part of that. He's done very well against lefties this year. Rayburn hitting .308 against left-handers.
Jan Gomes, another one that has really stepped up well against left-handers.
Bounce to third. Bloof sets and fires, and a nice job by Scott Diamond stranding Swisher on the bases after his leadoff double. To what's next by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. 2-0. Indians leading the Twins. Ubaldo Jimenez burns the outside corner to Eric Fryer. One strike. Fryer, Florimone, and Presley here in the Twins' third.
Yeah, Fryer picking up a hit yesterday. Also walked a couple times.
Ouch. The bat and a roller to short. Cabrera barehands it, fires, makes a fine play. He does that. Charges and barehands a ball as well as any shortstop in baseball.
Boy, you know what? I mean, a lot of guys, second time in this series we have seen Cabrera come in and make this play. Gets sawed off right here, breaks the bat past the pitcher, but Cabrera comes in sure-handedly with his paw. Rather than use a glove, knows that he's got to hurry his throw. On the run, makes a quick throw over to Swisher. Nice play.
A lot of weird things happen on the season's final day. How about this? The Detroit Tigers are being no-hit into the 9th inning in Miami.
Wouldn't that be something? Tigers going to postseason getting no-hit the last game.
Tigers are batting and they don't have a hit yet. Alvarez pitching for the Marlins. 2 strikes to Florimone. Chopper to short.
Well, this time he uses his glove.
2-0. Get involved in the game. Let us know who you think will be the Arby's value player of the game. Text the word value followed by a space in the player's name to short code 234. 234. Here's Presley. Singled, stole a base, and was standing at second with nobody out, and never got to third base. Tampa Bay leading Toronto 5-0, bottom of the 5th. And they're just about ready to start down in Arlington, Texas. Yu Darvish going for the Rangers in a game they have to have. I don't know that the Tampa Bay score or the potential win for the Rays will put nearly as much pressure on the Indians as it will the Rangers. Yeah. If Tampa Bay wins, Texas has to win, whether the Indians win or lose.
You know, when Tampa Bay putting 6 runs on the board early and then scoring one more with that 7-0 lead, I mean, their offense was sputtering a little bit the last couple days in Toronto. So that's got to make Joe Madden and you know, them feel a lot better. And see the scores, top of the 6th, Rays up 7-0.
2 strikes to Presley. 36 pitches, 25 strikes for Jimenez. Eight in a row set down by Jimenez. The comparison, Jimenez to Liriano, valid on at least another level. Jimenez was absolutely lost last year. No pun intended. He led the league in losses, 17. Led the league in wild pitches. The Indians gave up a couple of top pitching prospects to bring him over to the American League. Swing and a miss. It's in the dirt. And Gomes flips to first, and that takes care of Presley and the Twins in the 3rd.
The Broadcasters Hall of Fame, both well-deserved honors. Congratulations, Dick.
Two nothing Cleveland.
I told you I'm not kissing you. All the awards you're getting, I'm not kissing you.
The best news I've had today. Thank you very much.
Now, congratulations to you. Got an award last night. Tonight you're inducted into the Minnesota Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Great honor.
I thank you, Bert, and I've been given a lot of nice well wishes from Twins fans and through Twitter, the mail, whatever, and I'm really honored because of who's already in there. And I think of Herb Carneal, who's in there, Ray Scott, Halsey Hall, you know, other Twins broadcasters, and please understand, I don't believe for a moment I belong in their class, but I'm very, very flattered to be in their.
You may not think so, but
well,
you are. Congratulations to you.
It's been an interesting weekend, and
so we got 2 Hall of Famers up here.
You know, headed up the middle, Florimo can't cut it off, and Cabrera's aboard with a leadoff single.
It's a great honor. Congratulations, and it's an honor for me to work with you, Dick. You do a great job, man.
I have enjoyed the last 19 years with you, and I'm very, very flattered that you're going to be at the dinner and the banquet this evening, and it's going to be so meaningful for me to have so many people there who have been very instrumental in my being able to do something I love to do for 30 years. So we'll look forward to a fun night tonight. Michael Brantley, the batter. Cabrera aboard with a leadoff hit. It's the third time in 4 innings that the Indians have gotten a leadoff hit.
Well, Scott Diamond's been able to get some ground ball outs. 6 ground ball outs so far to 2 fly ball outs along with a strikeout. And Brantley hit a ground ball to Dozier in his first at bat. 15 double plays turned behind Diamond so far this year. Like to get a ground ball here or a strikeout. Brantley been swinging a pretty good bat for the Indians.
Hey, I neglected to mention a critical part about the game in Miami. The Marlins haven't scored either. Henderson Alvarez has just completed 9 innings of no-hit ball, but it's a scoreless game going to the bottom of the 9th. And if the Marlins don't score, then we have a 10th inning and so on and so forth. Remember, baseball changed the ruling a few years ago regarding what constituted a no-hitter and what did not. You have to complete the game. And I guess if you're going to have a chance for something like this, it's better to have it on the last day of the season, because you've got 180 days of rest between today's start and your next one. Here's a fly to center, and Presley with a catch, one away.
What was it? Harvey Haddix had no hitter, I believe, for 12 innings.
Yes. And then I think Joe Adcock broke it up, if I remember my history correct. Here's Gomes, singled his first time up. You know, it's been a disappointing season on the field for the Twins and their fans, and yet you and I think I can speak for you, we've just enjoyed coming to the ballpark. We're very privileged to do what we do, but maybe the thing I will take out of this season the most is the number of people who have continued to support the Twins here at Target Field. There's a ball hit to right center field. Herman with the catch out, number 2. I mean, it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. It's a lost season for the Twins. Vikings are playing in London. Yeah, we've got a really good crowd here, and you look forward to the day, whenever it is, when this Twins team is competitive again, just as a reward to the fans.
Yeah, we can't thank the fans enough for your support when you come to the ballpark, and also having the opportunity to watch it on TV.
Aviles, the batter.
And also radio.
And Diamond misses, down and away, ball 1.
Aviles showing bunt right there because Trevor Plouffe was playing a deep third base, but here with 2 outs. Aviles wants a double, not a base hit or a bunt.
But I suppose you would do that as a hitter to see if the third baseman takes the bait and comes in a little bit.
Which Trevor has.
And then you increase your chances of getting that double. Poke foul, 1-1.
Diamond, started the game off with Bourn getting the base hit, then the 2-run home run by Swisher, but he has settled down. He's kept the game at 2-0. Trying to get the final out here in the top of the 4th.
Florimon snags a line drive, and that ends the 4th inning. 2-0 Cleveland. Twins will try to get on the board at the bottom of the inning. the draft at McDonald's today. I'm loving it. And by Toyota. Let's go places. To find your nearest Toyota dealer and check out our current offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Strike one to Brian Dozier as the Twins hit here in the fourth. Dozier, Plouffe, and Doman against Ubaldo Jimenez. At stake for the Indians, not just a wild card berth, they win, they're in, but the ability to host the wild card game on Wednesday. The elimination of a possible three-way tie. It's entirely possible that Tampa apparently on its way to a win, and then Texas could win its game. Certainly they're underway now in Arlington. If the Indians win today, they're in, and then the Rays and the Rangers would have to play a game 163 to find out who plays in Cleveland on Wednesday. And of course, games 163 have been so riveting to watch, and the Twins have been on the upside and the downside of that game against the White Sox and Tigers a few years ago. But the Indians don't have to worry about that. And one of the things Terry Francona was talking about, he had success with the Red Sox as a wild card team. The benefit that a wild card team might have under this format, just keeping playing. In other words, Tigers have won the division. They open the playoffs, I believe, Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure which.
Get 4 or 5 days off.
And Francona's belief is, when you get to this point of the year, particularly for his team, they're playing great baseball. The last thing they want to do is take 3 days off. This thing is snowballing pretty well for them right now. 2 strikes to Plouffe. 2 down.
And Jimenez picking up his 5th strikeout.
And that'll bring up Doman. FC fans of the game.
You were hereby circled. Very nice. Hey, yesterday I was not with you, but want to wish 103rd birthday to Rose Osman from Bird Island, Minnesota. 103 years old.
But you know what? I recognize that name. I think we've wished Rose a happy 102 and a happy 101. I think she's a regular birthday wish recipient on Twin Stone.
She does not miss a game. So Rose, happy 103rd birthday.
I haven't checked next year's schedule where we're going to be on September 29th, but we'll hope that we can wish her a happy 104. Doman with a pop-up to first. Twins have had 1 base runner. It was the leadoff man, Presley, in the first inning.
Yeah, Jimenez, this will be pitch number 48 in the ball game. Well, it's up and away, but good velocity at 93. Jimenez from the Dominican Republic, 29 years old, 6'5", about 210.
And another pop-up right side. Coming in is Rayburn, still coming in, and he makes the catch. Another 1-2-3 inning, 12 in a row, set down by Ubaldo Jimenez.
circle with expectant parents. We got Casey here who says, circle me, Bert, because it could be her baby's birthday today. Who knows? You said the due date is still a few days away, but you never know.
Right.
How excited are you to be a mom for the second time?
We can't wait. We're so excited.
Well, I know Bert really loves birthdays, so we are excited that you could be on TV. We're going to give you $100 of scratch-offs from the Minnesota Lottery to help you celebrate the baby's birthday whenever it is.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here, Dick and Bert.
Boy, the way that that stomach was sticking through that sign, probably not too far away.
I don't think it's going to wait until April 6th.
Let's hope not for her sake.
Foul
for Mama's
by Bourn.
sake.
Diamond gave up a couple of runs to the first two batters who faced him. He's given up a couple of leadoff hits since, but into the fifth inning with 55 pitches. As much as he struggled, I think Twins fans can look at Diamond and imagine him being part of the solution here, because not how he pitched this year, but how he pitched last year. A little punch toward Florimone, one away. One gone in the fifth. You can participate for the final time in the AT&T Twitter poll regarding baseball. You might have an opportunity in basketball and hockey season, but today we're asking which player has surprised you the most this season. Use the appropriate hashtag. I don't know that Swarzak would surprise anybody. If you want to vote for him, you can, but he's been kind of a known commodity and
Right.
pitched very well.
My vote's for this guy right here. I think, coming over from short to second, the way he's handled it, made only 6 errors at second. He's, I think, going to be hopefully an impact player for the Twins next year.
And I think you look at him as being a part of the solution here. And if you're the general manager, you get to this part of the season and you, I suppose, have to go position by position and assess, is player X part of the problem or part of the solution? And I think in Dozier's case, the answer is part of the solution, and in Diamond's case, an opportunity, I would think, to be sure, to be part of the solution.
Yeah, I mean, 12 wins a couple, last year, and then had the frustrating this year. I know he's going to go into the winter. Scott Diamond, he's going to be ready for spring training this year. As you mentioned, Dick, bone chips kind of set him back. In December, he had to have the surgery, remove the chips, set him back at the beginning of the year, never really got into the groove, lost his confidence, and went down to AAA and regained it. And he's, I think, one of the 5 guys that the club has to look at next year as one of the starters.
Henderson Alvarez gets his no-hitter. The Marlins get a run in the bottom of the 9th.
Good for him.
And Alvarez can watch the playoffs, and for as long as the Tigers are in it, he can say, I no-hit him on the last day of the season. Marlins getting a run on a wild pitch in the 9th inning.
Very nice. Congratulations, Alvarez.
3-2 here to Swisher, who has homered and doubled already. Blue Jays trying to crawl back against the Rays at 7-3, bottom of the 6th. Florimone scoops it up, goes over to Parmelee. 2-down. And we've talked about this already, how Dozier this year has had the type of year Kipnis had last year.
Yeah, and Kipnis last year was his first year as a Cleveland Indian when he hit the 257. Played in almost every ball game last year, 152, hit 14 home runs, drove in 76 runs, and it's about what Dozier is this year. So wouldn't Dozier say, okay, I'd like to have the year that Kipnis is having in my second full year at second base? All-star, Jason Kipnis, same age.
1-1. Trout has homered in Arlington. The Angels have an early 1-0 lead over the Rangers. Swing and a miss, 1-2. It's going to be refreshing to watch the postseason and see some new teams
Cleveland Indians haven't been there since 2007. Pirates haven't been there more than 20 years.
Yeah.
Dodgers back in it. The Indians were looking for a manager. They were looking for somebody who was good with the players, good with the media, and had managed in the postseason before. And then you look in the other dugout, and that's exactly what the Twins have had too since 2002. Francona with the postseason success that Ron Gardenhire hasn't had.
I think if you ask both managers, you know, you're only as good as your players. Cleveland went out, they added some key elements to a winning ball club.
Swing and a miss. Kipnis strikes out. Diamond has his first 1-2-3 inning. Diamond has recovered after a rough start. It's a 2-0 ball game. Chris Parmelee, Chris Herman, Clete Thomas against Ubaldo Jimenez, and he hits the top layer of the strike zone to Parmelee. One strike. Parmelee called out on strikes his first time up. Next year, the focus of the Twins, and can make the case it's been the focus throughout the month of September, is some of these younger players getting a chance to play. But next year, not on the minds of the Indians at all. They've got this year to play for. 1-1. Parmelee swings and misses 1-2. But eventually, when they get around to thinking about next year, they do have a bit of an issue with Jimenez. He has a mutual option in his contract for next year, $8 million, which is reasonable for a pitcher who's pitching like he's pitching, but it is a mutual option. In other words, the club can say, yeah, we want to pick up the option, and then it's up to Jimenez to maybe gauge the market, and not that he would, his agent would, and say, well, you know what, we think we can get more than $8 million someplace else. We can get more years. Parmelee strikes out, 1 away, and that'll bring up Herman. We'll get caught up with what's happened so far here.
Well, second batter of the ballgame after Bourn led off with a single. Nick Swisher hitting the 2-run home run. After that, Diamond has settled down, but Jimenez scored a third inning so far, 6 strikeouts, and only 54 pitches.
Check swing and a called strike. So anyway, there's, now that Jimenez has apparently found something that he's been able to rediscover success with, there's no guarantee that he'll be back with Cleveland next year. And as Bourn's the inside corner again.
Well, I think chemistry has a lot to do with it too. What they're going to go through, you know, postseason, that also comes into play if he wants to come back or not. And that'll be up to him and his agent. But Jimenez, for the second time, strikes out Herman, and for strikeout number 7. You know, you get along with your pitching coach, everything's going good. Jimenez is only 29 years old, so he's still a youngster. Another good pitch, outer half of the plate. Herman, who kind of pulled off that ball.
2 down and Blake Thomas. As we've gone through September, it's just kind of been a foregone conclusion. The Twins lineup would strike out 10 times. It's just a question of in what inning would the 10th strikeout come. And against a guy like Jimenez, that's a pretty safe bet. 7 already, and Thomas swings and misses 1-1. Thomas put the ball in play, hitting a short fly ball to center.
Have to like his tempo too, not fooling around on that pitching rubber. Both starters here. Getting the ball and letting it go.
You had conventional mechanics, and that's one of the reasons you lasted as long as you did. So you can understand a pitching coach looking at this guy going, oh, wait a minute. You know, we got to tighten this up or something's going to blow. Thomas swings and misses. Strikeout number 8, completed with the throw to first.
Sometimes you just leave well enough alone.
15 in a row set down by Jimenez. Done, trailing 2-0. But the freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
What you like to see at a baseball game are smiles and camaraderie.
And short sleeve shirts.
Families with their parents.
I like the short sleeve shirts. I don't know how much longer we'll be able to see them. Of course, now you're going to go home to Florida and you'll be wearing short sleeve shirts. And
yeah, actually Gail and I are flying to California tomorrow to put my mom and dad to rest, put their ashes away for good. Yeah, looking forward to that, to be with my family.
Very nice thing you're doing, and I may not want to share it with the viewers, but it's really a nice touch what you and Gail and your brothers and sisters are doing.
We're going to the High Sierras and celebrate their life up there, and we have their ashes, and we are going to where my parents love to go up in the High Sierras, Gull Lake, Silver Lake, June Lake. My dad loved to trout fish, and he'd take us up there as a family, and that's where we're going to put them to rest.
It was my pleasure to meet both your mom and dad, and One of my lasting images of your induction in Cooperstown a couple of years ago was how beautiful and how proud your mom looked. She looked like $1 million that day.
They were special parents. I was very lucky, as a lot of us are.
1-2 to Santana. Now pitch down and in 2-2. But we'll see you back in Minnesota for Twins Fest.
Oh yes,
Caravan
sure.
and all that.
We're already looking forward to that. Then we have the Twins Fantasy Camp in January, early January. Let's see a lot of Twin fans down there.
I was paging through some of the material for the fantasy camp in January, and actually I think felt a twinge in my hamstring just reading the stuff. 3-2 toward the hole. Backhanded nicely by Florimon. And Parmalee put a tag on Santana, but not until Santana had reached the base, at least according to Brian Gorman.
Well, Florimon had to go in the deep short and to throw a little bit on the infield side. Parmalee had to come off the bag and tried to tag Santana right there.
No. Did he tag him? I couldn't tell.
Gorman had the closest view, and he said they did not. So Florimon will be given an error.
And Rayburn will hit. Fouled back. See if Santana is tagged at all by Parmalee, and then where his foot is. I don't know that he ever even touched him.
I don't think he touched him.
One strike to Rayburn. What the Twins want next year and how they'll get there is up to Terry Ryan, but what they want is what they had last year, at least with Diamond, for him to take his turn every 5 days, pitch effectively enough to just go out there every 5 days. Again this year, Twins had a rotation that not only was ineffective, it was in chaos.
You know, Dick, I did this thing on, and I call a quality start, 7 innings, 2 earned runs or less. And if the Twins could do that, how would they fare this year? And I looked in 161 ball games. Twin starters have gone 7 innings or more 27 times. Now, when they were able to do that, the starters are 14-6 with a 1.29 ERA. That's the importance of going at least 7 innings. And of course, the bullpen, the Twins bullpen, has pitched more innings than any bullpen in Major League Baseball because of the lack of quality starts that the Twins have been able to not put on the board. Averaging just 5 1/3 innings per outing for the Twins starting staff. And that's one thing the Twins, I think that's the biggest thing the Twins have to try to correct over the winter.
Scott Diamond has right now thrown 130 innings in his 24th start. The team leader in innings is Kevin Correa, 185 1/3. Mike Pelfrey's added 152 2/3. There's one pitcher on the board, and it's Correa, who has enough innings pitched to be listed in the ERA chart. You have to throw 162 innings to even be ranked in earned run average. And the Twins need to get back to the time. Kyle Gibson might be one of those guys where they've got 4 or maybe even 5 guys who pitch that many innings behind second base. This is trouble. And it lands between Dozier and Presley. First and second, nobody out. Diamond getting into a mess here with the air and the pop fly that dropped in the grass.
Yeah, you know what, again, there are certain areas on the field that are just kind of called no man's land, and this is one of them that Rayburn found. It's a pop-up. You can see he's disgusted. He thinks it's just a pop-up. Dozier going out, Presley coming in, and Dozier stayed with it. Now, maybe there was nothing heard right there from Presley. You'd like Presley to call him off right there because Dozier kept going. And it looked like if Presley says, I've got it, he may have had an opportunity maybe for a sliding catch.
Cabrera had a brief chat with Brad Mills here. First and second, nobody out. You would expect the Indians to execute here. They have in the month of September. And Cabrera taps a bunt foul. And a little disgusted with himself. You see a hitter in a situation like this. Talk with the third base coach. And it doesn't necessarily mean the bunt is on. It could have been, hey, take one good swing. If you got a pitch you can drive it, and then we'll put the bunt on. But here, Cabrera squared to bunt and dribbled it foul.
He has 5 sacrifices on the year again. I'm assuming that his job here is to lay down a bunt until 2 strikes. So if I'm a pitcher right here, I have to make a good pitch. Hopefully he'll bunt it in the air.
And there's a beautiful bunt. Diamond fires up the line. A run will score. Throw to third, not in time. So the Indians execute and force the Twins to execute, and they don't get an out. And the Indians lead 3-0.
Well, Cabrera will still get the sacrifice bunt, which he's asked to do. And Scott Diamond, as Dozier, the second baseman, has to go over and become the first baseman. And see Scott Diamond's throw way off the mark, ends up in right field. So a throwing error by Diamond allows Santana to score and Presley to go from first to third.
Rick Anderson to the mound, and the whole inning is just kind of falling apart defensively. Floromo's throw off target, Diamond's throw off target. The Indians have a chance to bust it open. Brantley the batter.
It's been a long year for that man too, walking back to the dugout, Rick Anderson.
Brantley 0 for 2. See what he is asked to do. Toronto threatening. They got 2 men on with 2 men in scoring position with 1 out bottom of the 7th. Inside corner, strike 1. Twins limp toward the end here. There's all sorts of intrigue about Ron Gardenhire's status. Will he be back next year? And will the coaches be back? Swing and a miss. It's interesting. Of course, it's what is most recent is what you remember the most. So just look at the last 3 years, and the Twins have not played well at all. But then you look at the players on the team in the last 3 years, and then you look at the players Ron Gardenhire had in his first 3 years in 2002. And there is a huge gap in talent. Whether you want the manager to come back or not, it's undeniable that the Twins, the products of the farm system in 2002 when Ron Gardenhire took over, Kadire, Hunter, Jones, Koski, Minkiewicz, Pierzynski, Rivas, and that's not even touching the pitching staff. And we all know it begins and ends with pitching. But when Ron Gardenhire has had players to work with, he won 3 divisions in a row. Brantley with a half-hearted swing, 1 down.
That's a big strikeout right there for Scott Diamond. He picks up his 3rd.
It's a cliche, but it is true in this case. I think everyone would agree a manager is only as good as his players.
Yeah. Good breaking ball right there, and Brantley, a strikeout victim. I agree, Dick. Your players perform. You can only put them out there. And there have been a lot of times Ron Gardenhire, I'm sure, looking at that lineup trying to make it out and saying, okay, who can give me the best at-bats today against this certain ball club or this certain pitcher?
Well, the starting lineup is a challenge, but then, with 13 pitchers, and that's a necessity because the starters have not done a very good job. Now you're left with such limited options off the bench. Down and away. 1-0.
I mentioned it before. I think in the basic agreement that's coming up, every club now is carrying 13 pitchers because of the starters going less and less. Would it be fair to maybe add a player or two to make that roster to 26 or 27 rather than 25? So the manager is not stuck with only 3 or a couple moves.
This one drilled to left. Thomas back, making a catch near the edge of the track, tagging from third and scoring as Rayburn. And the Indians had a first and second situation, nobody out. They wanted to get those guys in, and they have succeeded. They got a little help from the Twins, though. A sacrifice fly, and it's 4-0.
Yeah, Gomes gets an RBI, his 38th of the year, and does the job. Rayburn tagging up, second run of the inning. It's a 4-0 lead for the Indians.
Not very often that you can draw comparisons between the Twins and the struggles they have and the struggles that the New York Yankees have, but I think it can be drawn as a parallel here. What's happened to the Yankees? Why are they not in the playoffs this year? It's because this is through injury. Jeter hasn't played, Rodriguez hasn't played much, Mark Teixeira hasn't played much, and the Yankee farm system has let the system down in terms of giving Joe Girardi some major league ready ball players. They've gone out and gotten Vernon Wells and Alfonso Soriano, and they've gotten
Lyle Overbay.
They've gotten more than they had any right to expect from those players in terms of staying in contention. But the Yankees aren't immune to the same thing that has struck the Twins, with minor league players unable to help at the big league level. Chopped to third and past Plouffe. And it's the Twins TV booth jinx at work here. We were just talking about what a nice job Plouffe has done tightening up his game defensively, and now the third error of the inning.
Yeah, he tried to play that off to the side, and we've seen that before from Plouffe. When he does that, it's hard. It's hard to pick up that ball rather than get in front of it. Use your body, make it, knock it down. And right there, see, he shouldn't be trying to play that off to the side. He has to get in front of that ball. If the worst things happen, it hits his chest and bounces straight down. He may still get a force out at second base. But instead, they haven't ruled yet whether it's a base hit or an error. It should be an error, but because there was no contact, I'm sure it'll be a base hit. They do give him an error, so an error.
Third error of the inning. The Angels, and they're limping home like the Twins are. They played better in the last couple of weeks, but they committed 5 errors in a ball game yesterday in Arlington. The Twins have 3 here in the 6th inning. Loop to left, and Thomas comes in, makes the catch, and the inning ends. A couple more for the Indians, and it's 4-0.
in the bottom half of the inning. Time for a Grand Casino social spotlight. It is no secret the Twins have some issues they need to address this offseason, but we want to know, what area do you think needs the most improvement for next year's Twins team to be successful? Maybe it's starting pitching, or maybe you think the Twins need to get a couple power hitters in their lineup. Whatever you think, use the hashtag Twins2014, and we will share our favorite tweets in our post-game show.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Twins now find themselves down by 4. Eric Fryer leading things off. 1 strike from Jimenez. He's got the leadoff man on, and Jimenez hasn't given up another base runner.
And he is throwing strikes. 64 pitches, 44 strikes, 8 strikeouts so far, no walks. Struck out the side in the 5th.
And off the plate, 2-2. Twins, for most of this month, have had 5 catchers, but in reality, only 3 catchers who caught. Call third strike. Fryer out on strikes, 16 in a row. Pinto, Fryer, and Herman have been the catchers. Won't be long. The snow will be flying again. Mets were in town back second week of the year. They got most of the series in, had to make up a game in August. Mike Davis remembers that. He was born in Minnesota.
And now look today.
Twins open next year on the road in Chicago on March 31st. March 31st.
Bring your winter gear with you.
Gonna find my union suit. 2 strikes to Florimone.
You know, I'm already excited about March 31st. I really am. I'm looking forward to a better year next year. And that's what baseball brings. You know, you're the down, the high, the low.
There's great unrest among Twins fans, and that's to be expected. Great passion. Twins had a good run that lasted about 10 years. Now the last 3 have been terrible. 2 strikes. And I don't think anybody has any illusions that this is going to be a quick fix for the Twins. They're not a player or 2 away. There are going to be a lot of changes. And how expansive those changes are remain to be seen. Which is up to Florimone, and it's 2-2.
The Twins over the years have gone through the ups and downs, you know, from the 60s to the 70s to, you know, even before, think about 82. And then what happened in 87 and then repeated in 91. So this is a game you have to take the good with the bad, and that's strikeout number 10 for Jimenez.
Fifth man in a row to be struck out by Jimenez. And an appeal, speaking of next year, that you might want to be in Fort Myers, Florida to watch the spring training and be a part of the official spring training fan experience. Tickets, hotel accommodations, pregame meet and greets with players. And you will be there in a renovated Hammond Stadium. Phase 1 of the renovation will be completed by spring training next year. I was talking with Bill Smith, who's overseeing the renovations down at Hammond Stadium, and very exciting plans. It's going to look completely different as soon as next spring. So call 612-276-3824 to find out more information. 1-1. Presley with a single and a strikeout. The only base runner allowed by the Twins. It was a clean single, a line drive to center field.
17 up, 17 down since Presley's base hit to lead off the ball game for Jimenez.
Of course, the season started with Aaron Hicks as the center fielder. And it ended with Hicks not being called up, not agreeing to play winter ball. I think it is certainly realistic to think that Alex Presley, as the incumbent, might come out of spring training as the starting center fielder next year, only because I'm not sure Aaron Hicks can repeat what he did in spring training last year and still be assured of starting the season as a Twin center fielder.
I agree with you. You know, he had a great spring, and that really enabled him to make the ball club. The Twins were looking for that center fielder to take over for Ben Revere or Denard Span. It just didn't work out. And he went down, and if he had gone down, I know he got hurt when he went down to AAA, but if he had gone down and put up good numbers, then I think he would want to go into the winter, you know, with a more positive attitude. But he didn't fare very well at AAA, where Presley has been to AAA. He's been through the ups and downs, and he's had success at AAA.
Is Alex Presley, to use my comparison or analysis before, is he part of the problem, part of the solution? Well, he hasn't been part of the problem. He hasn't been here long enough. And I don't know that he's going to be the starting center fielder when the Twins are competing again. But he would allow the Twins to have a competent singles hitting center fielder with some speed, unless or until Aaron Hicks takes the job again. 3-2. Presley trying to get aboard with 2 gone in the 6th. Lee Thomas has had some time out there.
Yeah, Presley has spent 8 years in the minor league system in the Pirates organization, a .292 hitter in the minor leagues. And he draws a walk here to end that streak of 17 straight.
Much for Twins fans to cheer about again here, but a walk with 2 out in the 6th gets Dozier to the plate. So very promising talent in the minor leagues for the Twins, specifically but not limited to Miguel Sano and Byron Buxton, and Ron Gardenhire telling everybody these days he wants to be around when the talent wave hits the big league level, and telling Jamie in the dugout before the game, here's a ball rolled through the left side. Dozier with a base hit, and Plouffe has a chance to get the Twins right back in the game. Ron Gardenhire's telling Jamie, of course, doesn't want to leave with the team struggling as bad as it is. He wants to be part of the solution.
I hear Brian Dozier jumping on that first fastball and hitting it past Cabrera in the left field. Well, Gardy wants to manage. Whether it's here next year or not, we'll wait and see. But there's going to be a lot of openings.
There's already one in Seattle. There's rumored to be one coming up in Chicago, perhaps even in Kansas City. Callaway's coming to the mound here. Ubaldo Jimenez has had a trip to the mound by the catcher, and now Callaway.
Yeah, the bullpen of 16 pitchers out there starting to stir around.
And as with a pair of singles, bookending a pretty good run through most of this game.
Well, 10 strikeouts. He gave up the leadoff base hit to Presley. Really settled down. Struck out 10. Retired 17 straight before he walked Presley here in the 6th inning with 2 outs. And then Dozier jumped on that first pitch.
Plouffe with pop in his bat, and the Twins need him to pop one. Rips it foul.
Plouffe's last home run came on September 3rd in Houston. Jimenez allowed 16 home runs.
And now 2 quick strikes. to battle Jimenez here.
And Jimenez with the 10 strikeouts. That ties a season high in strikeouts. It's the fourth time he struck out 10 or more. Or 10 in a ball game. Career high 13 when he was with the Rockies.
One and two to Trevor Plouffe. Foul back. I've always thought, you know, it's got to be tough for a hitter because the shadow creeping out. And then Roy Smalley, who's doing some work today for us in the pre and post game show, he's been pretty adamant that for him it never really became a problem until the shadow crept out over the mound and the pitcher was in the darkness and the batting eye was in the brightness. But we've seen prior to the walk 5 straight batters strike out, 4 of them swinging. Allen and Zepchinski. Zepchinski threatening to enter all 4 games here.
I think when that shadow creeps over the mound, it's more the rotation of the ball that the hitter doesn't pick up. The spin on maybe a breaking ball over a fastball.
Plouffe flips it foul. Indians, by the way, have a chance today to do something that even the 1961 Yankees couldn't do. That is sweep 7 4-game series. Yankees of 61 hold the record, doing it 6 times. Back then, 4-day series were 4-game series were far more common. But with weather issues and all that, the White Sox or the Indians have swept 6 4-game series, doing it 3 times against the White Sox. That's incredible.
And they beat the White Sox 17 out of 19 times this year.
14 in a row. Plouffe battling Jimenez, looking for a big 2-out hit. Twins have had their issues in 4-game series. They lost 2 of them in a week and a half. Tampa Bay and New York. Just missed. He tried to drop an off-speed pitch over the inside corner. 3-2. The runners will leave early. Doman on deck.
Well, he was outstanding. 15 used in the second inning. Other than that, now 28 here in the 6th.
And a called third strike on a 3-2 pitch. Greg Gibson rings up Plouffe. The Twins strand 2 in the 6th.
Did he catch it?
He caught it! Unbelievable! And a glimpse of what Hicks could do in that game. Not only did he make that catch, he had 2 home runs in that game.
Yep. You saw the potential there, but then they just started feeding him with breaking balls. He fouled off. I just picture Hicks missing that fastball, fouling it into the net, and then the opposing pitcher would just drop that breaking ball, and that was his biggest nemesis and the reason that he got sent down. He just had a tough time hitting the breaking ball. And a pretty good pitch by Jimenez right there on a 3-2 pitch. Dropped that hammer on Trevor Plouffe for his 11th strikeout.
Swisher will lead off the 7th.
Michael Tunkin coming in, making his 9th relief appearance. He has not given up an earned run so far in his outings. Now 5 runs allowed, but all of them unearned.
Tonkin's been very, very good, and you can project him forward as being part of the Twins bullpen as soon as next year. If the AAA numbers weren't convincing enough, I think what he's done up here would build a strong case. Swisher retired 1 away.
Well, Tunkin on Thursday, an inning and 2/3. Even though the Twins lost 6-5, he ended up striking out a couple. Got a lot of ground ball outs. Sinker, slider.
And of course, for sentimental reasons, you'd like to see Jason Kubel step up, maybe make a pinch hitting appearance here in the middle of this Cleveland lineup. Jason Kubel married Tonkin's sister long before Tonkin got to the big leagues. But as we've discovered, Terry Francona doesn't have a sentimental bone in his body.
Well,
not under these circumstances.
No, I was just going to say.
Took Zach McAllister out in the 5th inning with a lead. There's Jason. As the Twins look for players to fill out the roster next year, Kubel will be out in the free agent market. Don't know whether Jason, I talked to him the other day, didn't even bring it up, but don't know whether he would want to come back to Minnesota where he enjoyed some great seasons. Don't know whether the Twins would have any interest, but if they did, and if he came back here, I think the lineup would be instantly more credible. Jason's hit the most, or hit the first home run in this ballpark. First one that counted, Denard Span hit one in an exhibition game against the Cardinals. 3-1, and Kipnis is walked. We'll bring up Santana. Famed car customizer Ryan Friedlinghouse and his crew. Let me start all of this over again because this is the last time I'm going to read this. Famed car customizer Ryan Friedlinghouse and his crew at West Coast Customs continue, don't know how they do it, to take common vehicles from ordinary to extraordinary in West Coast Customs. Each episode brings you, the viewer, inside one of the most dynamic car shops in the world. Don't miss a new episode tonight.
Nice. I thought 3 was a charm. For you, it's twice.
Yeah, I can screw it up with the best of them once, but you give me a second shot at it.
Good job.
Thank you. Santana, the batter. You'll be reading the disclaimer here shortly, I would guess, for the last time.
I'm going to put it in my bag and take it home.
Why don't you read the disclaimer? And
you would think after 19 years I'd memorize that thing.
But do something memorable enough to get it put on YouTube, so we could have a fresher entry than what people are going to have on YouTube, remembering the end of the Twin season this year. Kipnis takes off. Friars throw in time. Stolen base for Jason Kipnis.
Yeah, for Kipnis, that's stolen base number 30 on the year. Got a pretty good jump right there, and Friars throw a little high. But with 1 out, Kipnis got a good jump. Head first slide, and he slides in safely. Another element to Kipnis's game.
And as we've said before, that's part of his game the Indians weren't aware of in the minor leagues. He's been much better and much more aggressive in terms of base stealing in the big leagues than he ever was in the minors. 1-0 to Santana. One. Santana with a reaction to Greg Gibson's strike zone. Of course, one of the big decisions for the Twins in the offseason has nothing to do with whether the manager and coaches will be retained or which players will be brought in here via trade or free agency. It's what to do with Joe Mauer. The Indians acquiring Yan Gomes have limited to the extreme Carlos Santana's exposure behind the plate, recognizing that he is one of their better hitters. Santana, like Mauer, has been suffering from concussion symptoms because of foul tips. And so the Indians have all but moved Santana out from behind the plate. He hasn't caught in this series. Played first base yesterday.
And the importance of Santana and his bat as a switch hitter, good hitter from both sides of the plate. This is his 155th game he's played in.
And he rifles one to the gap in right center field, scoring another run. Kipnis from second on a Santana double, and it's 5-0.
And that's the first earned run that Michael Tunkin has given up this year in 10 2/3 innings. Fastball away. It was Santana who got the Indians on the board yesterday with that 2-run home run off of Cole DeVries, and here a double. And it's a 5-0 lead for Santana, his 39th double of the year.
Rayburn, 1-3.
You know, Joe's going to come in second in the American League in hitting 324, but he's played in only 113 games. But Twins need Joe to play in 150 plus games like Santana. You can't lose his bat. That's the biggest thing.
Well, from a financial standpoint, whatever the Twins payroll is at for the next few years, Joe's going to eat up a big part of it.
Right.
So it's beyond his production on the field. You need to have your payroll and as many big chunks of it as you can on the field to have any chance of success.
Right.
2 strikes to Rayburn. And a tapper to third. Plouffe fires across. Santana threatens to go to third, but holds up 2 down. And the Twins have said publicly they will talk with Joe about it, find out what is in his best interest, then determine what is in their best interest. And he may finish second, although Mike Trout started the day just a point behind Joe in the batting race. Story over in the National League, Michael Kadire is going to win the batting title for the Colorado Rockies. He'll be the 11th different National League batting champion in the last 11 years. That's remarkable. You know, in the American League, Bauer, a multiple time winner in that time. Miguel Cabrera now with his 3rd straight. And it's rare that you would have so much turnover in the batting championship where somebody different has won it for 11 straight years.
Yeah, congratulations to Michael Kadire. But Dick, be honest, all the years that Michael played, he's a great player. Did you ever see him winning a batting title? No, me neither.
300 maybe.
Right.
Michael's for the most part has been healthy this year. And of course, the spacious outfield of Coors Field. A roller to the right side. And that'll wrap up the top of the 7th. Michael Tonkin gives up his first run in the big leagues, and it's 5-0. Gorgeous day for baseball, and what better way to wrap up the baseball season than a Sunday afternoon rendition of God Bless America.
And welcome 2013 Twins Fest Audition winner, 11-year-old Elena Jane Wolf from Jackson, Minnesota, as she leads us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
To come back in the late innings as they've done a number of times, but so far the Grand Casino story of the game.
I'll tell you what, this might have been the biggest home run for the Cleveland Indians this year, because you know what, I mean, they want to win today, and here's Nick Swisher on, the second batter. It's that 2-run home run to give them an early lead, and then the Twins had 3 errors in the 6th inning, made it 4-0 on 2 unearned runs, but Jimenez has been outstanding. 11 strikeouts and 6 shutout innings. It's allowed only 2 hits.
1 strike to Ryan Doman. Chris Parmalee, Chris Herman will follow middle of the Twins lineup inside.
The Indians are scoreboard watching. They know that if they win here today, they're guaranteed that they're going to be a wild card. You go into the ball game, I'm sure a lot of those players were nervous, and here's a veteran, Nick Swisher, that has so much major league experience.
And just out of Aviles' reach, he traveled a long way. And had he gotten there a step earlier, he might have been able to lean over the tarp a little bit, but he couldn't make a catch.
Well, Aviles is playing shortstop because of the shift. He goes over here. He knows the tarp is close. Looks where he's at. How many more steps? And then he knows, okay, I'm going to contact. There's the tarp. Now can I reach the ball? Just out of reach. Good effort. strikeout.
Looking. One down.
Number 12.
Twins have made 19 outs, and 12 of them have been strikeouts.
5 called third strikes.
Matt Carson's in right field. Chris Parmalee will hit. He struck out twice. Outside, ball 1. Toronto has climbed back to a 7-6 game now. It's in the top of the 9th inning at the Rogers Center, and the Rays bullpen having some problems. It was a 7-0 game in the early innings, but the Blue Jays fighting back. They've already won the first 2 games of that series.
And the Angels up 1-0, top of the 5th over the Rangers.
1-2. Third time today that Parmalee has struck out.
And Jimenez tying a career high with 13 strikeouts.
Sanford Health injury report. Phil Cope doesn't appear to be healthy enough to be on the playoff roster, at least the first one that the Tigers will use. And Bruce Rondon hurt his elbow in his appearance here last week. No structural damage, but the Tigers, you get to the playoff rosters, and each spot is so precious. You can't have someone who you can't rely on. You don't know whether he's going to be ready to go if he tries to warm it up in the bullpen. So Rondon, whom I think they were beginning to count on to pitch for them in the playoffs, he likely won't be available either.
Remember, he pitched in that game here. He blew the Twins away, 3 strikeouts on 12 pitches. I mean, we didn't even have a chance.
And then showed up at the ballpark the next day and couldn't pick up a baseball. 1-2.
Well, Jimenez 1 strikeout away from a career high. He has 13 strikeouts now. Oh boy, just missed.
Twins hoping to avoid watching a celebration for the 3rd time in a week and a half, or actually 8 days.
Just a bit inside.
2-2. Herman to left center field, down for a hit. We'll see if Jimenez gets a chance to at least finish the 7th inning. 3rd hit for the Twins. You know, you want to win the game. Twins don't. Even if they've enjoyed watching the other guys celebrate, they've seen enough of that. Oakland last Sunday, Tigers on Wednesday. And beyond that, just to get it into a save situation, I think would be interesting to see Terry Francona and which option he would choose to try to get the save here today. Here's Thomas. And a base hit up the middle. First and second, 2 away. Last Sunday, the Twins were swept by the A's. And even though they knew they were champions in the mid-innings because of what happened in Kansas City, they cut loose as they should. Then Wednesday, King Benoit finishes it off. Torrey Hunter and the Tigers. And by the way, that's Max Scherzer with the 2-tone goggles. That was a nice touch. Scherzer has the 2 different colored eyes. I don't know whether he did that or a teammate did, but that was awesome.
And if I'm guessing, it's probably Torrey Hunter.
Could have been. Thomas with a base hit.
Callaway, the pitching coach, went out to talk to his right-hander. And they're getting him one more batter here, I'm sure.
To center field and down for a hit. 3 hits
on 3 pitches, and it's 5-1. Fryer driving in his 4th run of the year.
You know, one thing we have seen, even though the Twins have lost a lot of games, they've also won a couple ball games by coming back late. And Fryer jumping on this little breaking ball right off the end of the bat, but hits it into center field. He picks up an RBI, his 4th for the Twins. And Terry Francona gave Jimenez that opportunity, but he's coming out to make a pitching change.
Now the Twins, 3rd time through the order, have 4 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. In position to be the winning pitcher in their clinching game.
Tying a career high with the 13 strikeouts. Had the Twins number up until this inning. He got the first 2 outs on strikeouts, and then 3 straight base hits for the Twins. One by Herman, one by Thomas, and then the RBI single by Eric Fryer. Well, Jimenez coming out of the ball game, 106 pitches, 71 for strikes.
Mark Zipchinski, who came over from the Cardinals, his 27th appearance and 4th in this series.
He's done a very good job out of that bullpen. You can see the .92 earned run average. He's allowed only 2 earned runs in 19 2/3 innings.
Chris Colabello will hit for Florimon. The theory being we got a shot here to make it a 1-run ball game. Who's our best chance to hit one over the fence? And Colabello gets the call over Willingham, who might be used in a later inning. Colabello with a big swing. He got a pitch up and away from him, which what we've seen, that's his preferred area, up and away.
Yeah, 0 for 8 as a pinch hitter. 2 for 7 so far in the series with a double.
Just missed the outside corner. Ubaldo with the 7 home runs. They're looking for number 8 here.
Come on.
Terry Francona yesterday morning. I said, you want whoever's going to close games for you if you get into the playoffs, do you want them to get one out of the way in the regular season? And he said, well, in reality, we've been playing playoff games for the last 2 weeks, but they do have a big question mark at the end. Chris Perez apparently won't be closing for them unless or until they have a save situation. We won't even know how whoever it is can handle the situation. 1-2 to Colabello. Now, this is just the 7th inning, but the Twins can create a save situation in the 9th inning.
Well, when you lose your closer like Perez, that means everybody has to move up one. And sometimes you're taking your 6th, 7th inning guy like Brian Shaw or Joe Smith, into that role, and it kind of messes up their regular routine and maybe way of thinking.
1-2 to Colabello. Came out on a breaking ball. Twins get one but leave two. It's 5-1.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Well, that's not YouTube worthy. It was very nicely done, but nobody's going to put that on YouTube.
I like what was on YouTube. Leave it there.
Casey Fiend comes in for the 73rd time.
Yeah, Fiend has done a good job this year. He really has out of that bullpen. He's had a couple outings that kind of jumped that ERA up to 3.98, but overall, 51 hits allowed in 61 innings pitched, 12 walks, 3 intentional, but with 71 strikeouts in the 61 innings pitched.
Doug Bernier in at short for Florimone, who was pinch hit for.
Yeah, and with Colabello striking out, that is 90 times that the Twins have struck out in the 6+ games in this homestand. That's a lot of no contact, no ball put in play.
Fernando Rodney just got the save. Tampa Bay's a winner, 7-6 over Toronto. Rangers are threatening in the bottom of the 5th. And none of it matters to the Indians now. They've got a 4-run lead. 2 innings to go. If they win, they're in, and they'll play somebody in Cleveland on Wednesday. Strike called, 0-2.
Well, with Tampa winning, the pressure is on now those people down in Texas, the Rangers. And the Angels still up 1-0.
Rangers have runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 out in the 5th. A lot of managerial hot seats. And I'm not so sure Ron Washington isn't sitting on one right now. Rangers collapsed last year and got in as a wild card, lost the game to the Orioles, and
this year, if it is a collapse, they'll be outside looking into the playoffs, and not that it's Ron Washington's fault. I don't know how patient the ownership is in Texas. Nor do I know Ron Washington's contract situation. He may have 3 years left for all I know, but that would be 2 years in a row that the Rangers really faded down the stretch. And you contrast that with, what's gone on here with the Indians finishing strongly.
They had some starting pitching issues there. Some guys went down.
Yeah.
And Bean comes in, picks up a strikeout of Brantley. Brantley striking out for the second time. So good location right here by Casey Bean, picking up a strikeout. You gotta love home plate umpires that aren't afraid to call that ball that's 4 inches outside a strike.
I have to love that.
For Casey Fein, yes. For Brantley, no.
Rich Rieker, who's one of the umpire supervisors, he's here, and I haven't had the chance, and I wanted to ask him how the umpires are evaluated for postseason play. The technology exists certainly to take every ball strike call and analyze it, whether it was the right call or not, strike or ball. And you'd like to believe, at least I would, that the best umpires, the ones who are the most consistent over the course of the year, are the ones we'll be seeing in October.
And that's all you want as a player. You want that home plate umpire to be consistent for both sides.
Texas has just scored a couple of runs in the bottom of the 5th. They lead the Angels. But I think so much more goes into it. If you've got an umpire with a temperament that would not play well in the pressure of October, I think you'd have to allow for that, wouldn't you, rather than just functional balls and strikes and whether the guy's a good base ump. As the pressure mounts for the players in October, so too for the umpires.
Yeah, every umpire on this field, every umpire wants to be in postseason, whether it be a wild card game or playoffs, and the biggest honor being in the World Series.
2-2 to Yan Gomes. Gomes strikes out. Fein finishing strongly. 2 down. All right, you've got some year-end awards here.
I had an opportunity to let everybody know who I think the manager of the year should be, and I thought it was right in the middle, Johnny Farrell. Just my opinion. Miguel Cabrera winning the American League MVP. Max Scherzer, 21-3. ERA under 3 at 2.9. Victor Martinez. Now, I know there's Detroit players on there, but I think all of those guys are very worthy. And then Will Myers is the Rookie of the Year. How about you? How do you feel about that?
I might agree with you all the way across the board. Comeback Player of the Year, you'd have to, I think, consider Jimenez, today's Cleveland starting pitcher. He was all but given up for, and now he's an ace of a playoff team. But when you go from not having played at all, as Martinez was in that situation last year, to contributing to a championship ball club to the level he has, I think it's a good pick.
I know when I won the American League Comeback Player of the Year in 1989, I had a good year in 89. My last year, 88 here, my shoulder was killing me, and I worked through the final year of my Twins career, but it wasn't because I was gone. And I think Comeback Player of the Year is a guy like Victor Martinez that sat out all year, and all of a sudden now he's come back and he's made a big impact to the Tiger offense. I asked when I won the award, they told me, I said, where did I go? I'm glad I'm back.
Yeah.
I just had a terrible year because of injury.
I think this is still true. Dave Winfield is the only player to win that award twice. The guy made it to the Hall of Fame, but he
kept battling.
The Comeback Player of the Year twice, once coming back from back problems. Thomas comes in, makes the catch, and Fein has a nice tidy 1-2-3 8 inning.
invite you to stay around after the game for the final installment of Twins Live presented by CenturyLink. We will take a look ahead at what to expect next year, some changes no doubt in the making with the Twins organization. We'll tell you some areas our analysts think the Twins need to address. We'll also take a look back at this year. The highs and lows of this season, we will break them all down, and then for the final time, we'll go inside the manager's office and hear Ron Gardenhire get his thoughts on the season as a whole and on the game. Dick and Bert?
All right, Jamie, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Twins hitting bottom of the 8th, down by 4. Alex Presley takes a strike. Presley, Dozier, and Plouffe.
Well, good crowd here today. 30,935. Season total 2.477644 million. 6th highest season total in team history.
And the Twins will finish 7th in the league in attendance, and now in a 15-team league. That's in the upper half, despite 3 very disappointing years on the field. Presley with a 1-1 count. Singled and walked, and now a drive to left. And fighting the sun, Brantley makes the catch, 1 away. Dozier to the plate. Now on FoxSportsNorth.com, Tyler Mason hands out his grades for the 2013 Twins on Tuesday. Can watch a live stream of Wolves Media Day on Monday and a report card for Minnesota's loss to the Hawkeyes. Floyd of Rosedale heading back to Iowa City. Brian Dozier will hit against a right-handed reliever. The question is, which of the 12 will Terry Francona call on here to get the second out of the 8th inning? CenturyLink link to what's next. Should have maybe been able to figure this out. Justin Masterson, who has been used out of the bullpen, was used here on Friday night. Pitched yesterday, and he'll get a chance to pitch here today, and maybe left on the mound to try to wrap this game up.
Well, here on Friday night in the 8th inning, he came in, faced 4 batters, walked Trevor Plouffe, and then struck out Parmalee, Mastroianni, and Florimone to end the 8th inning. 25 pitches, 18 for strikes. Masterson, of course, a starter throughout his career with the Boston Red Sox and the Indians. Kind of been the plow horse, I guess, for the Indian staff. An innings eater.
Just a guess on my part, but I'm guessing the Indian bullpen, till further notice, is shut down. I think they want to see this guy out there in the 9th inning in the absence of anybody else, and in part because of what you said. Okay, you take Joe Smith and put him at the end. Now you got to find somebody to pitch his 8th inning.
Right.
And if you take Masterson, who apparently isn't going to start anymore this year, and of course the Giants did something similar with Tim Lincecum last year, but you can let Masterson go through the 8th and maybe see how he reacts in the 9th inning, and maybe you've solved your issue. 1-2. Oh, inside. That hit Dozier. Dozier reaches with one out, and that'll bring Plouffe up.
What you're doing going into one game, basically, I mean, you have to win against either Tampa Bay or Texas when they play the one game in the wild card, because you're putting a guy in that's never saved a game at the major league level before. Does he react this way? He walked the first batter here on Friday night, Trevor Plouffe, and then struck out the side. But right there, a breaking ball that got away and got a piece of Dozier. You know, when he was with the Boston Red Sox, he's kind of started, then they put him in the bullpen, kind of spot started him. But since he's been a Cleveland Indian, mainly used as a starter. And he has had a history of having some control problems from time to time.
He's completed 4 games, and I don't know. I don't have the information how many of those were 8-inning losses, but he's completed 4 games. He has 1 complete game shutout. But the point valid regardless. He's not accustomed to finishing ball games and getting the last out of a win. This one lifted to right center field, and Carson into the sunlight makes the catch out number 2.
And I think we have seen over the years, Dick, there's a big difference between pitching in the 8th inning than the 9th inning, maybe with a 1-run game, you know, in your favor, trying to pick up a save. A lot different starting a ball game than trying to finish it.
Doman will hit 0 for 3. And the Indians put their infield shift on for Doman. Swing and a miss.
Masterson had that oblique strain at the end of August, first part of September. Shut down, but now working out of the bullpen. 76 walks and 192 innings pitched, but 193 strikeouts.
Swing and a miss. 1-2.
Masterson type of pitcher. His ball's moving left, it's moving right. That last one, the sweeping slider. He also has that good sinking fastball.
And he bends a breaking ball over, and the Twins are done in the 8th inning. It's 5-1 Cleveland. There's 3 outs away from clinching a wild card spot. Playoff spot, and they took control early.
They sure did. The second batter of the ballgame after Bourn led off with a single. Dick Swisher hitting a big 2-run home run. Santana with a double. That in the inning that the Twins made 3 errors in the 6th inning. Santana's in the 7th, but Jimenez outstanding here. 6 2/3 innings, tied at career high 13 strikeouts. And I don't know. I mentioned earlier, Nick Swisher's home run to me was the biggest blow for. I mean, the most positive for the Indians because this game's so important. They had to win. They didn't want to go in this 3-team playoff possibility.
Right.
That was a big home run.
Brian Dunsing will try to finish the ball game for the Twins.
You agree?
Yeah, I do. And there's a ground ball single up the middle. But then on the other side of the coin, I think it probably had just as big an impact, whether it should or not, on the Twins. The Twins have just been struggling, to say the least, over the last couple of weeks throughout the whole month of September, wherever you want to start the struggles. But it's just been the same thing over and over again, giving up early runs or at least giving up the first runs and constantly playing from behind. Diamond can't even get through the first 2 batters without, being behind 2-0. Diamond after that pitched okay and gave up a couple of unearned runs. At least I think they all had to be unearned runs, didn't they, in the 6th inning?
The 2, yes.
So Diamond pitched okay after that, but there's sadly been no margin for error for any Twins pitcher. The lineup hasn't produced runs, and the other guys have scored first just about every game for the last 2-3 weeks. One strike. Some debris around home plate. Not a champagne cork yet. This will be a different celebration for the Indians than it was for the Tigers. I think you pointed it out during the broadcast on Wednesday. The Tigers had a non-alcoholic celebration in the clubhouse in deference to Miguel Cabrera and what his struggles have been. And it might be the same for the Indians, but we would anticipate a champagne beer mess. I walked into the clubhouse on Thursday. You never would have known that the Tigers celebrated as they did. There was the runner, and the pitch skied to center field. Bourn retouches second and retreats to the first base bag, 1 away.
I guess I want the fans to know too, when they do celebrate. Yeah, you mentioned champagne and beer. Believe me, not much of that is consumed. Most of it is over somebody's head.
Right. And 3 years ago, when the Twins celebrated after their 94-win season, actually it was before the end of the season, had to wait for a West Coast game, and I had clubhouse duty that night and got soaked. I didn't swallow a drop. As God is my witness, I did not swallow a drop. But had I been pulled over on my way home, I would have blown a 2.0. It's terrible in there, what you guys do.
Oh, boy, what a great jump right there by Bourn. There he must have held up.
Bourn going to second, and the Indians have an issue with Michael Bourn.
That's not a good sign right there. He had the right wrist, but about halfway, you're thinking hammy right here. Maybe just a calf, something pulled up right there.
Well, I just wonder whether the hit and run was on. Oh, no, something right grabbed him. Well, the Indians have an issue with a very important part of their postseason plans. My goodness, 2 down. Just what that man did not need. He just got Michael Bourn back into the lineup.
Yep.
And I know that was a concern yesterday for Francona. With the 2.5-hour rain delay, they wanted to get Michael Bourn back on the field. He did play yesterday with the wet outfield and everything. And I'm not singling out Bourn, just everybody. You don't want somebody to slip in the outfield grass and injure themselves. And now on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in the 9th inning, leading by 4 runs, Bourn pulls up lame trying to steal a base.
Well, he's a player I'm sure always has that green light when he feels he can steal second, but it's the game. It happens. Hopefully he's all right. Maybe it's just a cramp.
Chris Perez and somebody else warming up in the Cleveland bullpen. Hope foul by Kipnis.
Well, there's 16 guys down there, and they have to get some throwing in.
Nice catch by a fan. Put Perez in the game. Smith warming up as well. They put Perez in the game here the other night with a 5-run lead, and he gave 4 of them back right away. 2-2. Off the mound, and it skips into center. Dunsing lucky that ball didn't hit him in the ankle. And one more time, Jason Kipnis gets a hit against the Twins.
Kipnis, another multi-hit game against the Twins, and I don't know if I got a piece of Dunsing or not. He's got that ankle out of the way.
Santana doubled in a run in the 7th. We'll see if the Indians send Kipnis here in the 9th inning. Managers do that a lot. You think, well, a 4-run lead, but a lot of managers try to get that 5th run feeling like, okay, if the other guys get the bases loaded, a grand slam still can't beat me if I'm leading by 5.
Now, Kipnis stole a base in the 7th inning, his 30th of the year.
Nice block by Fryer, who he didn't block it. Kicked behind him onto the grass. Kipnis ends up at second on a wild pitch.
Yeah, breaking ball down and in, and Fryer tried to get in front of it. Somehow it got behind him, and Kipnis does get into scoring position.
Found it interesting the other day when Ron Gardenhire said of Dunsing, you know, we haven't given up the notion of him potentially starting. When do you think, if they make that decision, when do you think they should inform Brian that he should come to spring training next year preparing to start?
Well, it's 3:55 now. If the game is over at 4:15, about 4:16.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, right away.
Yeah.
Right away. If that's your intention. Or, you know, next day, just let them know. This is what our thoughts are.
But you don't wait until we'll see who we sign and what we might trade for in December or January.
I'm sure they have already sat down, I would assume, with Brian and say, these are our plans for you maybe next year. You know, we need starting help. You've had success as a starter. What are your thoughts?
Three and 0. Angels have tied it up against Yu Darvish. The Rangers have to win, and if they do, they have to win game 163 with the Rays Monday. Headed up the middle, picked up by Bernier. And that will end the 9th inning. The Twins have some dramatics left in 2013. sake for a young fan and some memories to last through the winter. The second season about to start for the Indians. Drew Stubbs taking over for Bourn in center field, leaving the game with an apparent leg injury. It'll be Chris Parmelee, Chris Herman, Cleve Thomas,
and Justin Masterson out there to hopefully get through the 9th inning.
Ball one.
I know this is our final telecast of the year. I want to thank you, Dick. I want to thank everybody on the crew that for all their help throughout the summer.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Bert. I tried to, as best I could, to share my sincere thanks with everybody who make this such a fun job. We know the product on the field wasn't very good again this year, but honestly, I just enjoy the people I work with. Get to work with you for 100 games, and the people we work with here at home. And I'm saying Tim Laudner's name because he's hovering over my right shoulder, but Tim Laudner, everybody, we're really lucky because we get to work with some of the top professionals in the business, and I'm gonna miss them all as soon as I wake up tomorrow morning. Inside, 3-2.
The pregame, the postgame, everything that ties into making this game possible for the good fans of Minnesota to. I'm not going to miss the conference calls. That's for darn sure.
Oh, there are parts of the job I won't miss, but generally the job I'm really going to miss starting tomorrow. Chris Parmelee has struck out 4 times today, twice looking. 1 down in the 9th. Our final Twitter poll. And I think because I said, why would you vote for Swarzak? Because he's been here so long and done pretty much the same thing every year.
Swarzak has done a great job. Nobody's pitched more innings out of that bullpen, and he's been a horse.
But is that surprising?
A little bit.
Okay, apparently.
I thought Dozier would win that.
Indians 2 outs away, and Twins moments away, apparently, from watching their 3rd team celebrate against them in the last 8 days. Up the line and foul. That's got to, I would guess, tie a record, doesn't it?
I would imagine. Yeah.
You can't. I mean, up until recently, there were only 4 teams in the playoffs. How about the Tigers? You know, when the schedule came out, grumbling about, we got to finish the season in a National League city. They get the clinch here on Wednesday, and they get swept down in Miami by the Marlins. And no hit today. 2 strikes to Herman.
Maybe the Tigers saw what we did in '87 after we clinched it.
Well, they had the off day on Thursday to recover from Wednesday. 2-2. You saw the bullpen active for the Indians. Here's an update with the Rangers scoring a couple in the bottom of the 6th. Rolled to the right side, picked up by Swisher. Masterson to the bag, and the Indians are 1 out away.
Yeah, good feed by Swisher to Masterson. That's where you want to get that pitcher the ball ASAP so he can catch it, then find the bag.
Swisher has very little equity in this team. This is his first year with them. He's had a profound impact on the team. So has Jason Giambi, who suffered an injury yesterday to a forearm. And you'll have to forgive the Indians if they go crazy here in a moment. They haven't been in the playoffs since 2007. And there's no one left on the team from that 2007 squad, I don't believe. I think Cabrera was a spare part then. Chopped to the right side. Great stop by Kipnis. Fires to Masterson. And the Indians are in the playoffs. Kipnis with a great play. And the Cleveland Indians are the top wild card team in the American League this year. Wednesday at Progressive Field. The Indians will host the wild card game. They will play either the Tampa Bay Rays or the Texas Rangers, an opponent yet to be determined.
And it was only fitting that Kipnis made an outstanding play, who played great against the Twins offensively and defensively all year long. Makes a nice play, quick feed over to Masterson. And here they come. Celebration begins.
Michael Bourn in the dugout, mobile anyway, so that's some encouragement. And the American League Central represented in the playoff field of 5 by 2 teams this year.
Very nice.
Tom Hanneman, the Detroit Tigers go into the playoffs as a division champion. Again, Michael Bourn appears to be okay, and the Cleveland Indians will use Bourn and the rest of a celebrating Cleveland Indian Ball Club to host the wild card game on Wednesday, Tom.
Dick, Cleveland controlled its own destiny, and they took full advantage of that situation this weekend, sweeping the Twins with a 5-1 win today. We'll break down today's game and look back and look ahead to the Twins next season, next on Twins Live.